Hello everyone, it's NerdGasm. The Justice League are arguably the greatest team of superheroes in all of comics, the Earth's first line of defense from terrestrial, extraterrestrial, and interdimensional threats, and today I will be ranking those threats, the 10 best villains the JLA have ever gone up against, spanning their over 60-year history in comics. Like all of my lists, these choices were made based off my own personal preferences. We all have different tastes in characters and stories, and I don't expect my list to match up with yours in every instance. I'm going to try my best to focus on individual characters and not team-ups, because if that were the case, half of this list would be on the Legion of Doom, the Injustice Gang, and the Secret Society of Supervillains, and many of their incarnations feature different combinations of the same characters, so I am going to just avoid them altogether, make things easy. A few of those villains in those teams will be featured on this list though, so don't worry. Starting off with number 10, I'm going with Amazo. He's an android created by the evil Professor Ivo that has the ability to mimic any powers and skills of those that are within his vicinity, using special absorption cells that are in his body. In many of his incarnations, Amazo also possesses default abilities that are essentially all of the powers of the original Justice League. This makes him an incredibly tough opponent for the team, as he represents all of their strengths wrapped into one. In some versions, though, he also replicates the weaknesses of those he takes powers from too, such as Superman's vulnerability to kryptonite. For number 9, I've chosen Dr. Destiny. This creepy skeleton-looking motherfucker can see into and manipulate people's dreams, using the Materiopticon, or Dreamstone as it's also known. I just think his design is really cool, and his abilities make for some interesting visuals in many of the stories he's featured in. I've done a supervillain breakdown on this character before, if you want to check it out and learn a bit more about him. Next up at number 8 is Vandal Savage, an immortal caveman who has been alive for over 50,000 years. He gained immortality after being exposed to radiation from a strange meteorite that had crash-landed on Earth. Savage has wandered the planet and has lived the lives of countless men, present during some of history's most grand and epic conflicts. His knowledge, skill, and tactical prowess in regards to battle is unmatched. The same goes for his scientific genius. He started out as a villain of the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, as well as Barry Allen, the Flash, but has fought Superman and the Justice League a few times over the years as well. Moving on to number 7 with the Anti-Monitor, an extremely powerful entity who controls the antimatter universe and whose goal is to destroy all there is. He was created at the dawn of time, along with his brother and positive matter counterpart, the Monitor. While the Monitor is human-like in appearance, the Anti-Monitor is giant and monstrous, with massive red eyes and a gaping mouth. The armor he wears, referred to as his life shell, is what contains his life force, because the Anti-Monitor is just a large mass of energy inside. The Anti-Monitor is one of the strongest forces in the entire DC universe, and because he has destroyed several thousand universes, is responsible for more deaths within that continuity than any other villain created in it. He debuted during the iconic Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline from the 1980s, acting as its main antagonist. Anti-Monitor planned on destroying the Earth with an antimatter cannon, but was thwarted by the Barry Allen Flash, who ran in circles and created a vortex to draw the power of the cannon into it, but was killed when the energy became too much for his body. At number 6, we have the Crime Syndicate of America, my favorite of all the evil villain groups that have battled the Justice League, and the only one I felt necessary to include in this video. Basically, they are the supervillain counterpart of the Justice League from Earth 3, the regular incarnation of the team being from Earth 0. Its primary members include Kal-El, Ultraman, the last surviving son of Krypton and the leader of the team, Thomas Wayne Jr., Owlman, a member of the Wayne family, one of the richest in Gotham, whose parents, he hated, were murdered by his butler Alfred, as well as his younger brother Bruce, Harold Jordan, Power Ring, who wields the Ring of Volthoom that feeds off his fear and terror, making him the most cowardly being on Earth-3. Lois Lane, Superwoman, who uses a lasso of submission to enslave all those bound by it. Jonathan Allen, Johnny Quick, the speedster of the team who can tap into the Speed Force. And finally, Grid, the sentient virus that lives within Justice League member Cyborg, who has helped out the crime syndicate on numerous occasions. Next up at number 5 is one of my favorite lesser-known villains from DC Comics, Prometheus. You may or may not have heard of him before. He was the son of 2 criminals that were gunned down by police right in front of his eyes. From that point on, he vowed to eliminate the forces of justice any way that he could. Prometheus would infiltrate the Justice League Watchtower and defeat several of the heroes before finally being stopped by them. He can download various forms of information from small disks into his central nervous system that allow him to know everything about his environment, strengths and weaknesses of his enemies, or automatically learn various fighting styles and techniques. He's sort of like Marvel's Taskmaster in that sense. His design is a bit unorthodox. He's nowhere near the strongest villain the Justice League has faced, and he hasn't been written the best in every story he has appeared in, but damn it, I still love Prometheus as a character. I think there are a lot of interesting elements to him, and he is criminally underrated as a villain. I love how his backstory is in many ways the opposite of Batman's, and of course, the similarities this character has with Prometheus from Greek mythology, not only because he shares the same name, but because his attack on the Justice League Watchtower is similar to the story of Prometheus, and how he defied the gods by stealing fire and giving it to humanity. At number 4, we have Brainiac, an extraterrestrial android that possesses a 12th level intelligence. He is easily one of the most cunning and strategic enemies the Justice League has ever fought. In most incarnations, he values knowledge and has traveled throughout the known universe to obtain it by any means necessary. Not only does he have brains, but he has the brawn to back it up, able to hold his own against the likes of Superman and the rest of the Justice League. I'm sure I'll be doing a supervillain breakdown video on him sometime in the future to go into more detail about his origins and backstory and everything, but in the meantime, you can check out my review of Injustice 2, where Brainiac served as the main antagonist. I talked a little bit about him there. Moving on to number 3 with Starro the Conqueror, a giant alien starfish who takes over planets. It's asexual and can create miniature spores of itself that attach onto the face of a humanoid being, or sometimes the back of the neck, taking over their entire nervous system. Starro is a very silly character, but that's what makes it so damn awesome in my opinion. It's such a ridiculous idea, but it works so well. Starro is an immense threat to any planet it visits, because like I previously mentioned, it's a world conqueror. It brings about the potential end of all free will. Starro reminds me of those classic movie monsters like Godzilla and King Kong, and it was the very first villain the Justice League ever fought back when they debuted in 1960. For my number 2 pick, I'm going with Lex Luthor, one of the most recognizable comic book villains of all time. Not only is he the primary antagonist of Superman, but he has been a formidable opponent for the entire Justice League on numerous occasions as well. Luthor is one of the most intelligent and manipulative characters in the DC universe, and he has led countless team-ups of evildoers throughout the years, such as the Legion of Doom, the Injustice Gang, and certain incarnations of the secret society of supervillains. Luthor has been shown to ally with the Justice League, and in turn all of Earth in a few instances, but one thing is always for certain: never trust him, because he usually has 1 or 2 or 12 tricks up his sleeve, and everything he does serves a purpose, more often than not benefiting him or his multi-billion-dollar company LexCorp in some way. And to finish off this list at number 1, we have Darkseid, easily the greatest villain in Justice League history. He's the ruler of the hellish world Apocalypse, commands over an army of artificially enhanced insect-like creatures known as parademons, and has many warriors that serve under him, such as his uncle Steppenwolf, his master torturer Desaad, and the vile Granny Goodness, among others. Darkseid is one of the strongest beings in the DC universe, capable of injuring Superman with his powerful Omega beams, can crush Green Lantern constructs with his bare hands, and can easily hold his own against the entirety of the Justice League single-handedly. I recently did a supervillain breakdown video on Darkseid if you would like more information on him, as well as reviewed one of the best Justice League storylines featuring the character, Rock of Ages, from 1997. There is a sequence in that story that has a few members of the JLA time travel into the future and see what it would be like if Darkseid ruled the Earth. It's a very memorable sequence with some awesome visuals, and features a fight at the end with very high stakes, where all hope seems lost and the fate of the universe hinges on a single moment in the past. It's very similar to the final moments of the X-Men Days of Future Past story arc, another comic I reviewed on the channel, and something I should have at least mentioned in my review of Rock of Ages. What was I thinking? But I mean, if you've read both storylines, it's pretty easy to see the comparisons between the two. I don't think it was entirely necessary for me to bring up. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video, my ranking of the top 10 best villains of the Justice League. There are a few characters missing that I could have included in this video, but then again, this is my list, and these 10 are the villains I enjoy most from Justice League stories, at least the ones I have read over the years. If you'd like to share your rankings in the comment section down below, feel free to. I want to thank everyone for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to support the creation of more content like this, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to be notified of all future videos I release on YouTube. If you'd like to help nominate future comic books and video games for me to review, take part in the monthly polls that determine those topics I discuss, you can do so by becoming a patron over on patreon.com for as little as $1 a month. I will see you all in the next one. Take care and stay nerdy.